What's up and welcome to a very special kind of funny screencast. We are about to do our predictions for WrestleMania 40, day 1 and day 2. We just spent the last 10 weeks, is that right, Greg? Going through
Tim.
some of the matches that have happened at WrestleMania in the history of WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I don't want to say some of the best. I don't want to say some of the worst.
Some of them were some of the best. Some of them were submitted by JBL to troll us and make our audience angry.
It is what it is. You can go back and watch our thoughts on a whole bunch of WrestleMania matches on the Screencast podcast feed or YouTube and all that stuff. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, we're looking at the future. Today, we are trying to predict what is going to happen this weekend in Philadelphia. I could not be more excited. Of course, if you want to get the show ad-free, you got to be a Kinda Funny member. You can get the membership on Patreon or on YouTube. You also get a daily exclusive multimedia experience. Greg Way. Shout out to our Patreon producers, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, Kieran Hovasapian, Carl Jacobs, Kashan Patel, Karen Lindner, and Nathan Lamoth. You are all the absolute best. I'm Tim Geddes. I'm joined by Roger Picorni,
Mama Rhodes,
Snowbike Mike,
for life,
and Greg Miller.
Suck it.
Going old school with that. Here's the thing. I was just talking to you about this, Greg, while we were eating lunch out there.
Yeah.
I've watched many WrestleManias at this point. My wrestling kind of lineage, as I keep saying, this started WrestleMania 20, watched not that long, actually, probably till like 22.
Yeah.
Stopped there, went back a little bit and got some of the history, but then I kind of went blackout until it was probably around 32 or so, and I've watched every single one since then. And since then, the WrestleMania season, the road to WrestleMania, Roger, is where it always gets me back. I want to know what the storyline is. How are they going to end it at Mania? Like, what do we got going on? So, Rumble to Mania, I've watched every single year. I've been having a great time. There's been some years I've looked forward to more than others. We went to WrestleMania 35. We went to WrestleMania 39. So, obviously, a lot of excitement there. I've never been anywhere close to as excited as I am for WrestleMania 40.
Hell yeah.
This is the end game of WWE, and I cannot believe we're getting there. How hyped are you, Roger, as a newcomer?
It is all I think about. It is becoming annoying in the Picorni Mondesir household. That's all I'm thinking about. It's all I'm talking about. It's all I'm watching. I cannot be more hyped for WrestleMania 40, and it's 2 days of goodness.
Do you feel prepared?
No, absolutely not. I mean, how can you prepare your body for this, right?
Yeah.
How can you prepare for the storylines, the things that I'm not going to understand, but you're going to have to explain it to me in the moment, right? All the surprises that are going to happen. I'm not prepared, but I'm prepared to not be prepared.
I love that.
Oh,
I love
wow.
that. Mike, what about you?
I'm ready, Tim. This will be my second ever WrestleMania ready to rock and roll, and I can't wait. The fall of the Bloodline. The end
that's
of
really
the
what's gonna
Judgment Day.
The end of the Judgment
Will
Day.
we
Yes.
just acknowledge him and let him get to the record, Tim?
No.
Because I'm sick of y'all talking about these Cody crybabies. He's got to do it. He's got to finish his story. No. The story is simple. Roman Reigns, our tribal chief, will complete and break the record, so his name will forever be the GOAT.
Well, I
Seems
mean,
like
he'll
you're
always
gonna
be
love
number
crying.
2, though, right? Because, I mean, maybe he holds on till SummerSlam and beats Hogan, but, like, he'll never beat Bruno.
Never say never.
God, can you imagine that world, Greg? Now, Greg, here's what impressed me the most is we were having this conversation. I was saying I am more excited for this than I ever have been for WrestleMania. I didn't expect you to say
Really?
what you said.
But I'm also the most excited.
That just seems wild to me.
I think, I've said this a few different times on interviews and conversations with people that it's ridiculous for me to have been a part of the heyday of the late 80s, early 90s with, your Hogans, your Warriors, your Shawns, your Bretts, your Lex Lugers, right? To be so in during the Attitude Era, right? And then be here right now. And it's crazy to be 40 years old and be saying, I mean, this is the best the product's ever been. This is the best WWE has ever been. And the reason I'm so excited for it, and I assume you're so excited for it, and you two clowns are so excited for it, right, is the fact that the storytelling has never been this good. Like, there's one match on here when we're asking her for prediction. I just went, who gives a fuck? Like, why is this match happening? I don't know, whatever. But everything else, you're like, you've earned this, and I understand what you're doing and why you're going here. Do I agree with the different conversation? But you want to go to the top of the card and talk about, the Bloodline versus Cody, right? You want to talk about, I think what they've done with Drew, CM Punk, with Seth Rollins. Again, Rhea Ripley just running ruckshot over the division and then trying to get Becky involved, which we'll get to and all that stuff. Like, there's just so much interesting stuff happening that even when you get to a match where it's like, cool, it's Dominik versus Rey Mysterio and their tag team partners from the LW. Oh, I don't give a shit. Sure, fine. I love booing Dom, and he hasn't been in the ring with Rey in a while. What's that going to look like? What's that going to feel like? Yeah, okay, cool. Like, everything has been so good to build to this point, to get this 2-night affair where you really are like, damn, it's not like night 1 is underselling night 2, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for both these nights. I'm excited for both these nights. I'm excited for both these main events.
It's just so wild to me. Like, we make comparisons to the MCU all the time here at Kind of Funny. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I can't believe how apt it is, though, for what we are getting with the storyline and what you're talking about, Greg. The reason this is working so well is so many of the matches here, so many people involved in WrestleMania 40, storylines intertwine in a way that I have never experienced in wrestling. It is very much, these people are doing this thing, these people are doing that thing. Maybe you get a tease that there's, after this is done, they might see each other in the future. This is the most like, the Jimmy and Jay are about to face off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, there was just so many layers to the Bloodline stuff that makes it so interesting. And going to the Marvel stuff, it's like you talking about the 80s and 90s eras of wrestling that you watched. It's like, it very much is the Fantastic Four movies and, you know, the Daredevil movies and all of that, of like, yo, they were still fun to watch just because it was superhero stuff. But then you started getting into the real stuff. And it's crazy how Spider-Man, the Homecoming, Spider-Man coming back like into the Marvel Studios, it's Cody Rhodes from AEW.
Sure.
Right? Like, adding all that stuff up. And then this does have this beautiful storytelling that a lot of it was kind of just luck. Like, when we look back at how we got here, even the last couple months, when The Rock got involved after the Rumble, we were like, what is happening? They're ruining this. Yeah. And somehow they pivoted and made the right calls for everything to just line up absolutely beautifully.
Gotta give him time to cook.
Yeah,
we gotta let him cook.
Let the final boss speak is right. Also, there's some other fun storylines to this that we haven't quite talked about. We got a Prime bottle in the center of the ring, and I need to know what y'all think about that. Because to me, you know, I don't know if I would put something on the center of the ring. I don't like logos on that. I watch the UFC. I get the UFC. But like, when I watch wrestling, I've never seen one on there, and I don't think I'm ready for one.
No.
It's obviously not good. No. Not ideal at all. It's not. The fact that it's a big ass Prime bottle too. Not a big fan.
Yeah.
Am I a fan of them using it as the storyline with Logan? Yes.
Sure. Yeah. I think I was pretty like whatever about it until I saw a meme Photoshop of the Stone Cold Bret Hart match, and then just a Prime bottle in the middle, and I was just like, fuck yeah, that's right. It's gonna be there no matter what. It's gonna be there during when Cody probably wins the championship, right? Like that does suck. I'm not a fan of that.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
This could be the show unto itself, right?
Could be.
As a purist, as somebody who's been around, obviously change is always bad, right? So no, I don't like that there's going to be advertisements in the middle of the ring. I get it. I understand the business of being a live sporting event and wanting to make as much money as you can. I think the brilliance in this lies at making it part of the storyline. I think if it was just all of a sudden Slim Jim sponsoring the mat, we'd all be as angry as we're going to be angry with the Prime bottle, but there'd be nowhere for that anger to go. The fact that it's going to be a Prime bottle and you can direct it towards Logan and it feeds off his character and does all that, it's such a great way to introduce the idea of, hey, there's going to be advertisements here, and next time you're like, well, at least it isn't fucking Prime. At least it isn't Logan. And then a year from now, we're not even going to talk about it. It'll just be whatever. We'll talk about it in the way of like, I liked it better when there weren't ads, sure, but like, it'll be whatever forgotten about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is an unfortunate thing because it's like, it's ugly. I mean, I feel like no matter what, you're putting stuff there and it's like ruining the look of what they're building. But to your point about the live sports angle, it's like, yo, this thing's about to be on Netflix starting in January. Like, that to me, not all of the stuff, but like, I think that is going to be such a monumental shift of, you take the momentum that they're building right now, the energy that we have talking about this thing, newcomers to this, they're about to get so many, if they can keep this up and like use that Netflix audience, like, that is the type of thing where WWE could become way more of a powerhouse and like continue making the right moves, I would hope, with more money and funding to be able to do cool stuff.
Now, do y'all expect this to be the whole entire 2 nights? Is this one match? Is this the finale match? Like, how do we use this Prime bottle correctly.
Have we heard from it since its debut when Logan said it, right? Like, we haven't had this driven home. I haven't heard it a
No.
lot. Of,
Well,
so
no,
it's
that's
like,
why I still have question marks of like, when is it being used?
I think it's for the entirety of every PLE.
Yeah, that's what he said at least in the thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a match gimmick thing. Like, I think it's very much.
I don't
like
either.
Yeah.
And but it's I thought maybe that if it's a gimmick, it is for his match. If it's more across lines everywhere, yeah.
So we'll see. But you know what? I don't want to waste any more time on this stuff. I want to start getting into it. What we're going to do, we have the official cards for night 1 and night 2. As is tradition with WrestleMania, we don't know the order of the matches going into it. You can kind of assume. But I'm just going to read based on what Bleacher Report has here. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way to the top, starting with night 1. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Actually, before we even get here, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Getting excited.
There are some things before the matches that we got to talk about.
America the
We're in Philadelphia, all right? We're about to get WrestleMania 40. How much are they going to lean into Rocky? When do they do it? Is
keep
that a
saying
night
that.
2 Cody situation?
You keep saying that. You keep saying. I mean, I don't doubt you, but I just don't see the vision necessarily.
I mean, they already kind of hinted at it last
Oh,
night
okay.
with the Sammy Gunther stuff.
Oh yeah,
right?
You're right.
With Chad Gable getting in
Yeah.
there.
The
Like, come
training
on.
montage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they would be wild if they didn't do it. But, like, before I even get into
I mean,
the
what does
Rocky-
that mean to you? Are you saying Stallone? Are you saying? I mean, like, are they going to show that fucking statue of Stallone? Yes, 1,000% they're going to show that. They're
Yeah.
going to show the Liberty Bell. They're going to
course.
show people eat at Pat's and Geno's eating cheesesteaks.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
But, like, is Stallone there? What is he doing? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like
What's
that's
his
the time.
involvement?
They're trying to make this the biggest WrestleMania ever, and like, just come on,
Here's
you
how
gotta
you'll
go
know.
for the things.
If WrestleMania Night 1 opens with a Stallone VO, then I bet he brings Cody to the ring or some shit like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Or even Sammy to the
That's
ring.
it.
You know what I
I
mean?
can
If
see
they
that.
want to lean that way.
Because we also need to remember Cody has 2 entrances,
Yeah.
so lots of work with there. But then on top of that, Greg, what are you thinking for the stadium? What are you thinking for the stage, the sets? What are we doing? Just a big LED wall, or are the rumors true? Are we getting a giant bell above the ring?
I mean, I think there's a giant. I mean, like they've made the bell a central part of the WrestleMania graphic,
Yeah,
right? Like they're
yeah.
going all in on the bell for sure. Yeah.
Ring a ding ding. Let's
Ring
go.
a
Is it
ding
an actual
ding,
bell or
Tim.
is it just
You want a giant bell around the ring. Or above
Every
it.
once in a while, they go crazy with like the above the ring set dressing, and it just makes everything look insane.
Yeah.
Like in Miami for WrestleMania 28, on top of the ring, there was a giant like inflatable ring with like palm trees, and it looked cool as hell. I think that like there's been a lot of mock-ups of people like,
Get out of here! Get out of here!
That's
No!
really funny.
They didn't sponsor this show.
No.
But I think we're gonna get a big ass bell. My question is it part of the like stage set or is it above the ring?
I would think stage.
Yeah.
Stage. I don't like the above the ring stuff.
My thing is, people have been doing mock-ups and none of this is real or whatever. But what I'm seeing is big ass physical WrestleMania with big ass physical XL. That's what I want the set to be.
Okay.
Make that thing like,
That I'm fine with. Yeah.
yeah, and then put the bell on top of the
Yeah,
ring.
of course. Last year when we all went to 39, right, it was at the new LA Rams SoFi Stadium, and that is a dome essentially that had the giant Megatron over it. Now you're looking at Philadelphia over at the Link, and there is no dome, there is no Megatron over that. So yeah, Tim, I kind of now start to think of like, yeah, what is above that? Because when we've watched some of the older matches, there is stuff all above that ring. It feels more like a box than a open air. Oh, I can see clearly to the other side of this stadium right now. So it is interesting. All I'm looking forward to
I mean-
is that fire green.
Oh, I love that green.
Oh,
that
yeah.
dark
It's a nice
green,
green.
that Kelly green. I'm all about that.
You make a good point of bringing it out. Like, I want to rescind some of my statements here. I bet they will have something stupid over the ring, right? Because whenever you have an outdoor stadium, you want to make sure you can protect against the elements. So if it was to rain, you need a
Smart.
canopy up there. Yeah.
We've had our top experts look into this.
Top
I looked at
experts.
forecast.com. 10% chance of rain night 1, 0% chance night 2.
0. That's good.
That
There's always
10%
a chance for wind though.
means it's going to rain in 10% of the city. Remember that.
Yeah. Don't ever forget.
Learn that.
Yeah. I told Jen that. She's like, that can't be true.
Any other thoughts before we get into the matches about other things? So we do know Tunchi himself, Lil Wayne, he's
Huge.
going to be there. We got Meek Mill going to
got
be
Meek.
Do
there.
we know who the host is? Like the Miz was the host last year. Is there an official I'm the host?
Is it Meek?
Stallone. Now, that's the thing, too, is there is a lot of opportunities for returns. Cena, Stone Cold, Undertaker are always on the table. I don't think that them hosting this necessarily makes sense. I like Stallone, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think if they would have said something. I think it was going to be Stallone, right?
Yeah.
WWE wrestler, superstar, legend, Hall of Famer returning. I think that's one thing. Stallone, you'd want to get out in variety and all these different things.
Who doesn't have a match that should have a match that could do that?
Pretty deadly.
Gosh,
I
shout
feel
out
like
to
there
those
has
guys.
to be-
I'm kidding.
But there has to be somebody that like is like just because of how stacked this is missing out on a match.
They're getting
CM
a lot
Punk?
of people
CM Punk.
involved.
Isn't it
But he's
CM
doing
Punk?
commentator.
He's doing
commentating. So he's
Okay.
commentating
Okay.
on the Drew
He's
match,
the-
right? I don't think you'd put him there.
Yeah.
So is every WrestleMania hosted by somebody?
Not every, but they have
Yeah.
been doing it a lot. New Day hosted. They're the first ones I really saw that was hosted that way. I guess The Rock hosted back in the day too. Alexa Bliss hosted Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, the chat.
Liv Morgan.
Out. I would say Liv Morgan's.
Liv Morgan's
if,
getting involved.
If we're doing this, sure. But the other, I think slam dunk because this is how they use him now is Big E.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
You know what I
Could-
mean?
Amazing.
Could you do
Yeah.
Big E again? Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Well,
I
not
like
even
that.
again. It's much solo, right? It's not the New Day. It is
Yeah.
just Big E doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. And
Okay.
he's involved. He's around. He's
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Oh, he
so.
just did an eating competition
Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah.
Huge deal, man.
they're like Big E presents. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a big deal.
If it's about an eating competition between Otis and Omos, it's going to be Big E presented.
I can't wait to see the celebrities as well. Right down in Hollywood, it was celebrity filled. This will be fun. It is a grand stage. It is a big deal. This is a big event to kick off the summer season, essentially. And I am jazzed up to see who comes out to Philly. Kevin Hart is a Philadelphia boy. Could be Kevin Hart hosting this thing. Get ready, y'all. That's my guy.
with
That's
the Rock.
my guy.
With the
Yeah.
Rock.
Never saying
That's
that.
my-
Makes sense.
He's
Makes sense.
definitely going to be there. Oh, my God.
That's freaking hilarious. All right, let's finally actually get into it
Yeah.
now then. Match 1. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominik Mysterio.
Gotta be Ray, right? Everybody hates Dom. They haven't faced each other since last time they did, where Dom won, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, let's have a comeuppance here. Dom is such a great villain, right? I feel like you want to see the bad guys lose.
Two
Yeah.
good villains right now in Dom and, of course,
Yeah.
Escobar, because that is the Legado del Fantasma, which has been feuding with the LWO this whole entire time leading up to it, right? They just beat up on Dragon Lee, and so now Ray's back. He's going to bring the young Dragon Lee up with him, and it'll be a fun battle. I am excited for this. It's, of course, going to be father whooping up on the son, which I think we all are excited to see. I'm more excited to see, like, when does that turn? He's so red hot as the heel. Dom is everything to us. We're booing him. But that moment when Dom becomes the man and we all cheer for him, I'm in
Not
for
this-
that
it's not
story.
this
I know it's not,
Mania. Yeah,
but like
yeah.
one day there will be a moment.
Oh, for sure. There
And
will.
like
Yeah.
how they write that, whatever it is, I can't wait to see it. I'm here for this because he is so hot that in my mind, every time I watch, I go, how do they make that turn? What does it look like? It's
I
gonna
mean,
be awesome.
It feels like we're heading towards the end of Judgment Day. Like for everything that they're setting up, the mommy always saying communication, he's never communicating. The adding of the other group with them, like it seems like we're going towards that direction, and I could see that as his potential for next WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be Rey Mysterio for sure.
I think that's easy. And again, that's something to keep in mind. WrestleMania is best used when it's the end of stories. And so I hope that they don't like
Planting seeds for the next one.
always. But like I feel like with WrestleMania 40 specifically, you really gotta just don't fuck this up. This is the end game. Don't make this the Infinity War.
And
like
that's-
we've already had these moments, but there has to be some things that are teasing towards the future.
Oh, so you don't think this is the end of Judgment Day?
No. I think we're
This
getting
is
there.
the official end of Judgment Day here.
I don't know if that. I don't think necessarily, but I do
Okay.
think the Judgment Day story is fine. But I think that when it comes to this Ray and Dominik, like what they've been doing, it's like okay, Ray wins. Good guys, let's move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, we have Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill
Fun.
versus Damage Control.
Fucking Jade Cargill.
So
Are you kidding me?
Amazing.
That
my
entrance,
gosh.
man.
What about? I mean, you want to talk about a superstar that I can't take my eyes off you. You're fantastic. Like the promo, the physique, the in-ring action we saw at Rumble, right? Like holy shit, I want so much more. She reminds me so much, and it's funny, obviously being a former AEW person, right? Of Cody, of when Cody came back and was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, right? When it was just like. I can't take my eyes off you. I need CM Punk. I want to see more of you. If you're on TV, I'm watching. She's the exact same way.
Yeah.
So I think again, her WWE debut match outside of the Rumble, right? I think they win here, no problem. Let alone Damage Control is so on the we're skirting by and like falling apart and this, that, the other.
Building up Naomi too.
Exactly. They drop here. There's more fighting in the ranks. Then we get to the Bayley match we'll talk about in a bit. I assume Bayley wins that as well. Damage control kind of explodes on itself, right?
Yeah. Another end of Damage Control. This is wild. I'm a Dakota Kai guy, Roger.
Oh, really?
You know that.
I'm not
I
high on
love
Dakota
Dakota Kai. And without Bayley, they're really nothing, right? Like, I think they tried to piece it together, but you see the collapse of, like, if Bayley's out, then we end that. And how does that look? The Kabuki Warriors are incredible alone. They don't need Dakota Kai. They don't need anyone. They can just be themselves. So it'll be very interesting to see Damage Control, of course, without Bayley. But, like, what is the pieces of the storyline after this of where is Damage Control and what do these girls do? I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I love the trio of Bianca, Naomi, and Jade. And I hope that potentially after this, they stick together just for a little bit because I love seeing three black
As an
women
actual
come in.
faction, or do you want them to just stick together as like, yo?
Either or. I mean, I'm down for whatever. I'm down for an actual faction, but I like the idea of just black sisterhood, right? Like of just seeing that on screen. Like that's awesome to see it. Like I was kind of half expecting Jade to come in and just destroy or be part of Damage Control or whatever it was. So it was nice to see like,
well, the way
shit,
she squared off at Rumble against Bianca, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this will be an
wanted
awesome
that.
feud.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure
Exactly.
we're going to get there
We're gonna get
eventually.
there.
But it was like, oh, this is a cool way to do it too.
Yeah.
I've just been I love it. I love the backstage stuff that they've done, like the just conversations that they've had. And this is another big thing about the Triple H era of storytelling of like in the background, we see other things happening. But I love that for the first time, it feels like in forever, maybe even the first time I've ever seen, we're seeing them talk about the ramifications of good guys turning bad and bad guys turning good of the past, of like the way that they're like Naomi being like, hey, Bianca, why are you dealing with them this way? And she's like, you weren't here. You don't know the bullshit that they were doing, whatever. It's like, this feels so great. And yeah, having them talk, it feels like they're just letting them speak as opposed to they're definitely saying pre-canned written things that are like trying to get to a goal. It feels a lot more personality based and like their personalities mesh. It's like very cool to see.
Totally.
But yeah, they're going over.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, I'm going to need a little more. I don't watch every Raw on SmackDown, so I might need some help on this stuff here. We got the 6-pack ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. What's up? Is that a sponsored thing by somebody?
Not to my knowledge, they haven't announced a sponsor to it unless I've missed it. No, it's just the fact that it's going to be 6 teams in there going for it. And I honestly think it could be one of the most fun finishes of the night.
I think there are 2 belts going on.
Correct.
Yeah,
So the idea
both
here
are
is
very
that,
weird.
they have been very clear that the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles that are up there. Of course, these have never been officially unified into one belt, right? You see your tag team champions carrying all 4 belts. This is why I think it's going to it has the potential to be a very, very fun finish because I do think they're separating them here where it's going to be you have to get all the belts down. So I do see it being one team gets one down. I in terms of predictions, whatever, I predicted that I think Awesome Truth will bring down one set and become SmackDown or Raw champions, where I think it's going to get really fun and interesting just because I think it'll be something different to shake up the tag team division and get really wild with it. Is if I was a betting man, I expect it to be 2 guys go up to the top of the ladder, battling each other, trying to get that last set of belts down, and they each get one. And I think then you go, and I wrote it down as Woods and Waller. All right, you guys are the tag team champions. And so then there's this thing of you look at Kofi, they're like, what the fuck? He's looking at Austin. There's infighting between the actual, well, not between Woods and Kofi. He won't give a shit. But Waller and Austin are actually feuding about it. But it doesn't matter because you want to still be the champion, but you want to win. But then they're putting you into matches where it's like, all right, cool. It's you guys versus Kofi and somebody else, and then you're getting that fun thing where Woods runs in and lays down, and Kofi jumps on him, and they have to break. Both sides break. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
I think that could be
that's really
great.
creative.
That's
I think
really great.
If you're gonna split the titles, I think there's so much ink you can use here to write really fun stuff out of this. Again, have Judgment Day drop them, right? Damian and Finn no longer have them. More infighting for Judgment Day. Lack of communication. You figure if Dominik loses there too, that's great. And then you have this lack of communication thing. We'll get to what it means for Rhea when we get there. But you have that. You then open the door for Priest to cash in Money in the Bank, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens there. We can talk about that later. But I really do like the idea of, even with the New Day right now, the way Woods has been like in the promotion of stuff he's doing at WWE World, being like, also, we're up for this thing, and like, we're the most decorated tag champs of all time, da-da-da-da. And there's been this long thing of like, do people really want to see Kofi and Woods fight? No, that's not what it's about. So it's like, what do you do with that to keep them together but keep it fresh?
Yeah.
And I really do think making a new tag team title champ that is a heel and a face, put them together, I think that'd be fun.
That's a cool story. I also have a quick question. During commentary on Monday Night Raw last night, they brought up that maybe I'm saying this wrong, but they said Woods has never won at a WrestleMania. Kofi, of course, won, but like Big E as well. So like they were talking about New Day of like they don't win at WrestleMania, which got me thinking. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. I never. If you asked me, hey, is New Day won? I would be like, hell yeah, they're winning all the time. But odd, interesting fact right there that I thought.
Yeah, tag teams are always hard, just because, especially when there's the 2 belts, the 2 shows, and like, are they a real tag team like New Day, or is it like, oh, these are 2 guys that are together for now because we don't really know what else we could do with them or whatever? But which is the case for this for me, where a lot of these people I just don't care too much about.
Yep.
Like the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I don't even know who they are.
You're not feeling that?
You know, do
Interesting.
you guys?
I mean, I know of them.
Yeah, they've been
like,
pushing them hard lately.
Yeah.
They've been pushing these guys, DIY as well. They've been pushing a lot. So those 2 are the teams of like, oh, they've been doing a lot of pushing lately in the week by week shows.
I kind of weirdly am in love with A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, and Grayson
yeah,
Waller.
we are.
I don't know.
I'm with you.
I know that like they're not supposed to be loved, but like I love them. Like I love seeing them wrestle. Like that's the biggest thing. Every time I see a match from them, like usually in the mid card, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good match.
Well, that's back to the fact too that then they are just great heels.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Grayson Waller is awesome on the mic. I love the Grayson Waller effect. Austin Theory, even when he was the chosen one by Mr. McMahon or whatever, it was still like, yeah, you're great to hate. Like, you know what I mean? Keep failing at the cash and stuff like that. There's plenty to do with them.
Yeah, I did not like Austin Theory during that era. Like, I got what they were doing. I just didn't. It wasn't my favorite version of it. Grayson Waller, I'm obsessed with. I think that he is the perfect version of how you're being an asshole, and putting him with Austin, it has raised Austin's stock for me so much, where I'm like, oh, y'all are, this is great. Like, Austin doing the selfie stuff, it just never felt genuine. And it wasn't like enough for me to hate him. Whereas like everything that they do now, I hate it in the best way. So I'm stoked that they're here. We got obviously New Day. Obviously, I always want them to win no matter what. Awesome Truth, huge fans of them as well.
So fun.
Dude, let's just have some fun
So
out
fun.
here. Then DIY, Johnny Gargano and Ciampa, who I know everybody loves, but I didn't see that stuff, so I don't.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is my match of the WrestleMania weekend.
Okay.
I've been watching a lot of ladder matches, of course, getting ready with the Dudleys, you know? So I'm jazzed up for this. Like, the idea that we're going to have a sick tag team ladder match with 6 groups, I'm all about this. I am so pumped for this. This is my most anticipated match of the night. There are teams that I hate. I don't like DIY at all. And I know they're supposed to be the good guys, but like, I don't like their style of wrestling. They are very fundamental. They do it like the way that I would think Kurt Angle does it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't vibe with that. And the same goes for New Catch Republic. They're the new hot young guys on the scene who do it right. They have a cool style about them, but I just absolutely hate them
don't vibe with it.
every time I watch. And, you know, that's my personal preference. But to think we're going to get all these teams and we're going to put ladders up, we're going to have some great spots. Like, this is what I want out of a WrestleMania. I want you to get the ladders, get the tables, go all out for me and go wild. So I'm jazzed up about this. And if this is truly the end of the Judgment Day, which I don't want it to be, because I love their spots. Every week when we get to see their little locker room and they put up all the things, it's like that shit is so awesome to me. I love it, right? But like, if this is the end, it's got to be Awesome Truth for sure has to win. And I will go with, I love Greg's idea. I think that's a brilliant one. I don't know if A-Town Down has the staying power for me.
They don't,
So
but I
I
want
think
it.
it is one of the younger groups, and I think it is New Catch Republic that wins. And we do the exact same thing Tim just did. Eyebrows raised of like, okay, let's see what you got here in the coming weeks. But this is my match of the night and the weekend. I want to see
I
this.
love that for you, man. Mike, there was I forget which one it was. It might have been 33, where there was a 4-way tag match, and they left the 4th one open. So we're like, who's it gonna be? And it was the return of the Hardys, which was like, oh my god. And I just wish that if you're gonna do 6-pack ladder match, I wish that there was that like surprise of like
originally when
one
they were
more.
like doing like the silhouettes and they left 2 up and you're like, oh my god, are they gonna do the Hardys and the Dudleys? Because Hardys obviously, you know, just because they're out of AEW kind of thing. Matt was at the event lately, and then of course you're in Philadelphia. Like back to who could host this thing, like Bubba and Devon. You know what I mean? Like it's such a, I mean,
Are
like
they Philly boys? Is that a thing?
ECW. ECW's Philadelphia, brother. And so that's the thing where it's like, you know, like I can't, I think, you know, really honestly, like there's no reason not to be excited for everything at Mania weekend. I am so emotionally unprepared yet anticipating Paul Heyman's induction to the Hall of Fame on Friday. Like that's
beautiful.
the one that is like really for in a lot of ways the main event for me. Like that is like I have to see that as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Like I gotta consume that. And it's like to see what that Philadelphia audience is gonna be like for him.
That's crazy. I did not put that together. Oh my God. Yeah.
Woo! And one more quick thing. I'm so excited for the production of this ladder match because I love the idea of like watching, right? I think if we were there, I have eyes on everybody, but it is very interesting of like there's one camera shot and it's gonna be moving all around. I love the idea of like learning about the business and how do me and Roger off camera still entertain, but clearly know like we're not the mainstay, right? And like how are we moving that? I'm all about it. They should be sponsored by Natty Light. Natty Light, bring it.
Is Natty Light's catchphrase bring it?
No, I just like that. I just think when you say six pack, it's like, oh, let's get a beer sponsor. You know what I mean? Bring Natty Light.
Yeah, we don't want the pride.
Mike, you just went off on this whole thing like when me and Roger are doing this stuff. I was with you for the journey, but that is so
is the
funny.
idea it's supposed to be 12 people in this ring at all times?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh my God, yeah. And here's the thing, Roger, okay? TLC matches, tables, ladders, chairs, specifically you put the belts above. There's a lunacy to it all that like it can either just be too much and this isn't good, whatever. And like I feel like when they turn TLC into a pay-per-view, we jump the shark. Like there's just too much going on. But back in the day, there'd be the matches that are like those are some of the all-time, the ones you talk about.
WrestleMania XL.
At WrestleMania, that was where they introduced the concept of Money in the
This is
Bank.
the one with the Hardys?
Well, the Hardys, that was WrestleMania 17. But WrestleMania 21, they introduced Money in the Bank. And that inherently is a ladder match.
Yeah.
And then it'd be 6 people trying to get up, whatever. That then became like one of the most looked forward to matches every year at WrestleMania. Yeah. Then they turned it into its own pay-per-view and, it's still exciting. But like the fact that they're doing this at Mania, they're about to go hard.
And that's my thing over here where it goes, Marion McKellen, sorry. Do you think this could be the best ladder match since X7? I say no. I say no, not having one since X7. Then I'm like, that's the best, right? But I feel like there's so much going on here. But I also do feel that like when you look at New Day and especially what they did in the street fight we got to see in San Jose, right? Like maybe it could be. Like, you have a bunch of teams in here who are trying to steal the show. And when you go back and you listen to the Dudleys talk, when you hear Bully Ray talk about it, he always was like, we went out there every night to try to steal the fucking show. We weren't Austin, we weren't Rock, we weren't Taker, we weren't Kane. We were going to go out there and we were going to do our thing and try to make it awesome.
Yeah.
If they set up 2 ladders and put a table on top of them and 2 jabronis grab the belt and fucking party on it, we've won.
And there's a Natty Light right there in the middle.
Throw him a Natty Light. You know there was a man, his job was to throw Stone Cold Steve Austin the beers. Hey, what's your job? I just tossed Austin some beers. That would be so
it's just
sick,
such poetry
bro.
to watch them do it. Because like the amount of the ones that got dropped, minimal.
Minimal.
Like, and think about that, because they were throwing them across across the ring and Stone Cold's Jesus. Now, that's
so
what happens
cool.
when you catch 12 beers a night, 300 nights out of the year. But I mean,
God, what a beautiful thing. We're moving on. It's brother versus brother. All right. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. A match that I personally cannot wait for. I messed up. I bought my first Peach of WWE match, I think, ever. Merch. Ever. The Yeet shirt.
Yeah.
It's at my house. I was going to wear it on this show. Didn't realize we're doing this show today because I'm a dum-dum. Was driving in my car, pulled up my calendar. I'm like, I'm a fucking loser. Anyway,
you live
Team
so
Jey,
far
baby.
away.
You got to save it for the
Jey.
weekend.
Let's go. You said something that blew my mind, Mike, which I understand because I understand what side of the line you're on here. All right. But I was talking about Jey. You're like, get out of here. No.
What?
He wants to acknowledge the blood. He
I
wants
do.
Jimmy.
I do. I'm part of the bloodline.
You're part of the
I'm
bloodline.
part of the bloodline.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
I
incredible.
acknowledge them.
so you're saying Jimmy.
Oh, I mean, you know what's going to happen. Solo's
Bloodline
coming.
interference.
Yeah, of course. Bloodline interference. Bloodline rules. We're not letting Jimmy continue his run. Or we're not letting Jey continue this run right now, even though he's red hot and he's so fun to watch. But, like, let's be real. Like, we're stomping this out right now. They got to stomp it out. And I can't wait to watch it.
100% is going to be Jimmy. I wish it was Jey. I love Jey. I have my Yeet shirt at home as well. I'm also wearing my This Is Awesome shirt. Thanks for buying your first piece of WWE merch. That was my fucking show, Tim, but no big deal.
You gave me it free.
You never wear it. Anyways, though, I think you have to do this right because the bloodline has to be insurmountable on night one.
Yeah.
It has to show it has to continue this narrative they have right now of how could Cody Rhodes possibly beat Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, right? So again, you're expecting Bloodline interference, typical solo bullshit. Ref gets distracted, whatever comes out. Jimmy gets screwed over. Not to mention, as much as I love Brother v Brother, and I love this idea, I'm encouraging you to fight Cool Rig all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like this one hasn't been juiced all the way that it could be. You know what I mean? Like, I really do feel like Jimmy getting the upper hand and screwing him over here, awesome. Let's build to a SummerSlam one-on-one where it is for months you've been doing this and I had you, but that happened and then none of them, like, let's go. Like, I mean, to get really nerdy with it, let's emulate SummerSlam 94 where Owen and Brett went into the cage. Let's do a cage match. Nobody else, nothing else, just you and me in the cage. Let's actually figure out who the best person is. I think that makes a lot of sense. And even though WrestleMania is about ending things, you can continue that way, let alone what's going to happen to the Bloodline on the end of this Raw after Mania, etc.
I'm so right there with you on this, where it's like, this isn't the end of their story. I do feel it is very slim chances that Jay wins, which I understand, but I do think that there's room. He's been crushing it. I love this main event Jay character. I feel like this is my favorite era of the Usos since I've watched them, and him being separated from the Bloodline has been, I think, the best thing to happen to the Usos specifically, and his new entrance is just so damn good. I cannot wait to see it for the first time at a Mania. This is about to be unreal, the amount of people like jumping up and down. My big question is Lil Wayne walking him out? Is Lil Wayne rapping while he
It seems like
out?
they're setting that up, right? Like, that's
It
the only
does.
thing that I mean, I don't want to hear a new Lil Wayne signal.
That's my problem.
He's just gonna mumble. And I love Lil Wayne so much.
I just don't want
But like
it.
his latest stuff, he's like, oh man, like
stuff.
this is a big
10 years.
WrestleMania moment, homie. Don't ruin it.
No, I don't want a new single.
Yeah, I
That
wish he didn't
sucks.
say that. But that's the thing, is they might do the thing where it's like they do the single, there's a walkout, there's whatever, but then when he gets to the ring, it changes to his song.
Sure.
Whatever. I'd be here for the excitement as long as the crowd's popping off and
they
getting
will
up
be.
and down, and I'm gonna be excited for it. But there is potential for some shenanigans in this match that we're not talking about. Greg Miller.
Lay it on me.
Who is their father?
Rikishi. I'm right there with you. Too Cool comes back out. Scotty Too Hottie. Rikishi. Rest in peace, Brian. But then they come out and they back it up and they stick face everybody.
That's it. Like, I don't think that they've built to that. You know what I mean? I feel like they would have had to.
But this would be a great way to do it, where
I know.
it finally, Rikishi does come out. Like, even if, I think of it, even if it went this way, right? Bloodline interferes. Jimmy goes over. Jimmy wins, and Rikishi comes to the ring then and slaps the shit out of his face. Like, you embarrass me. You embarrass the family. That's fucking cool.
Yeah. That to me, dream scenario. It's just get more Bloodline things related, like more family shit going on. That's going to be the best thing. Because, like, if it's just fucking Jimmy and Jay fighting and Solo comes out, and he's like,
Yeah, there has
whatever.
to be something.
There has to be something better. Because, like,
I mean, you
What if
wouldn't.
he wears a different colored hoodie?
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
a
the
blue
difference.
one this time.
oh shit.
How were y'all feeling last night? Seth Rollins like, you want to see me fight
Dude.
The Rock? Yeah. You want to see me fight Roman? Yeah. You're not. Oh fuck. Here we go. You're fighting me.
exactly who he's gonna fight,
They're
yeah.
doing you no favor, Solo, for making me care about you.
Yeah.
And the main event was good though.
super fun. My biggest issue with the last couple years, or last year, I'd say, of WWE storytelling stuff, like in a way that when they announced The Raw coming out and Cody's going to stand down and all this shit, and we're like, what the fuck? I felt the same way when Jay was going up against Roman, I think it was, and Jimmy interfered. The way he interfered felt so, we've seen this a million
What are they gonna do that's
times
different? Yeah.
before. And I feel like now they need to make up for that. And I have faith they're going to. I don't know what it's going to be. I have faith they're going to.
It can't be a
See,
simple.
again, I think the Rikishi angle could work even if it was this happens and then Raw after Mania, he comes out and he's disappointed in Jimmy, and that leads again to the SummerSlam stuff.
That's probably a better call, honestly. But we'll see. So we're all saying Jimmy?
Yeah.
Intercontinental Championship. Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
Sami's in.
Tell me more.
I think that
Tell me more.
I think that all of the championships are going to be going to the.
Wow.
I mean, I look at the entire list and I'm like, the only one that I'm a little bit hesitant about is Rhea and Becky, and I feel like Gunther a little bit. But the more I think about it, I'm like, I think they're just going to flip everything. I see the vision, I see what they're going for, and I think this is going to be a definitive end and a new beginning going into the next series of whatever they're doing. That's what I see.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I would have told you no chance for Sami before last night's promo.
Yeah.
I thought last night's promo was, obviously melodramatic or whatever, but it was well done of like, you don't believe in yourself, this, and then reference like, seeing my wife, seeing my kid, and like go back to Elimination Chamber. I thought, that's actually really powerful. It's a great way to make me suspend disbelief that this would happen. I still go Gunther. I think what happens is Chad Gable's interference, where this should be Chad's opportunity. He's been working with Sami. He doesn't believe in himself or whatever. Well, I don't know how exactly you do it, but I guess you could do it the other way where Sami wins and Chad comes out and then also flips on him. Or again, you save it for after Mania. You do whatever next week with it. It just, there's something about it that just doesn't feel, and I hate to say this because I love Sami, earned. Where it's just like, he's been put into this position against Gunther, but I don't feel like he wants it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sami's such a journeyman, and it was like, to get to that highest of high of Elimination Chamber and the finish of the Bloodline story, and then him and KO to go to Mania and win the titles. Just from there, I feel like since then there's been a like, what do we do with this guy kind of thing.
For me, as somebody who jumped on the ship right around Royal Rumble, it just kind of came out of nowhere, the whole Sami Zayn thing. And I think they're trying to make, that's the reason why I'm with Greg, and there's the reason I think that we're going to switch all of the championships is because it seems like they're going that direction with that promo last night, but it does not feel earned in general.
Yeah, Sami just doesn't have the juice for me right now. He doesn't have the pop that I want him to, like we had last year before WrestleMania, where it's like, oh, I believe in this guy. Like, I'm on this boat right now. It does not feel like that. And the issue for me is, I love Gunther. I think he is the face that you want walking down with that title and being menacing and like being the baddest around. The issue for me is he's now surpassed whatever that record was, right? So he's already done that. Is it time to give it up and get some fresh blood and like rewrite that story? But I just don't see you giving that up right now. Sami's not the guy for me to beat Gunther. That's all. That's what it is.
And everyone's making really good points. I am a Sami Zayn mega fan.
Yeah.
Love this guy. Want to see him
What's
succeed.
his middle name? Mega fan.
Adams. It's Adams,
give me
actually.
3 facts about Sami Zayn.
I can tell you more about El Generico, but it's a different guy. So I love him. I loved him last year more than anything. Like that rise, the entire road to WrestleMania that he was part of was like one of my favorite things ever. And honestly, probably my favorite WrestleMania match of all time was him versus Johnny Knoxville, because that match was freaking fantastic, man. And it's one of the reasons I love wrestling. This is not his match to win. This came out of nowhere. This is them trying to give this, honestly, superstar that the audience is behind a big moment, but they've just done too good of a job with Gunther in this Intercontinental Championship run that makes that belt more important than it's been since I've ever watched. Like, Randy had a run that I remember was very incredible, but like, this shit matters now, and that's awesome. He did already pass the record. He did all those things. It is time for him to move on to the heavyweight scene, and I feel like he'd be perfect for a post-Mania couple pay-per-views of him facing a Drew or a Seth or whatever. Like, that adds up. That makes sense. But Sami's not the guy. Sami with the belt doesn't feel right to me.
Do you think Chad could be?
That's my problem, is it should have been Chad.
Yeah.
The timing didn't just add up. If this was rematch 3, it'd be Chad's for sure. But I think that they just timed it a little wrong, where Chad's at now. It just feels like, I don't know, this should have been Chad's to begin with, but adding Sami makes it weird. I feel like Chad's shoosh stuff, Alpha Academy, like, needs to stop, but I don't think turning him heel's the move. So,
and that's my thing.
kind of messy.
I could
here.
see Gunther retains cleanly against Sami, and then that's where it gets lost. I don't know. You were never worth my time. It's just chopping the shit out of him, and Chad runs out again, kind of like we saw him last night. Not an Alpha Academy outfit, right? I'm with you. Of like, the shoosh doesn't make sense, and the way people talk about Chad Gable is like, he is going to be the next Kurt Angle, right? So it's like, let's lean into that here. He comes out, he saves Sami. That starts the new Chad Gable angle to go that way, and sees him leave Alpha Academy behind or whatever.
Yeah.
I need Chad Gable, the hero, but also the scary hero that will put you in an ankle lock and make me think, oh man, that guy's evil. That's what I need from Chad Gable right now.
Yeah, and my other problem, though, with Gunther is that he needs to move on because he deserves it, but we're just so stacked right now in that heavyweight scene, like across both shows, that I just don't know if it's the right time for getting him in there. But
I don't think it is, especially where we're going to talk about, well, we'll get there, I guess. But like, depending on how we end the story and where we go next and all that jazz, if for some reason you don't have Seth turn on Cody, period, that could be the answer there, right? And I do think like it undermines it to a degree, but also doesn't. I do think Gunther is the type that if he came out and got in a confrontation with your world champion Cody Rhodes, and he's like, I'm coming for that title. You already got a title in my show business. This title means nothing to me. I relinquish it. I'm coming. Like, I think that would play really well to his character. Of like, I've proven everything I need to prove to this, blah, blah, blah. It kind of shits on the IC title because then whoever does get it never beat him, blah, blah.
Sure.
You eventually have to have that storyline tied up somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
But if Gunther doesn't lean into that, right, if he isn't making a big deal about it, then you could get away with it.
Yeah.
That's Greg, you should be writing.
Yeah, come on.
You got some
Trips,
sick
I'm right here.
ideas.
Come on, let's go.
Next up, we have the Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch.
Why don't you go, Raj?
I mean, I would have always said Rhea until I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know. I think we're going Becky. It's just a gut thing. It's just a gut thing. It's a wild gut thing. I just feel like we're going towards Becky. We're gonna have the fall of Judgment Day, and then we're gonna build back up Rhea. I don't know where that goes. I'm not the Greg Miller. I can't foresee the future storylines, but you know, I looked it up, and they told me Becky was the answer.
Yeah.
No way. Mommy's on top. There's no way. She is so hot right now. She is the draw. She's the reason why we tune in most of the time is to see Rhea and absolutely destroy her opponents. Becky feels kind of just forced into this right now. It doesn't feel like it's Becky's time. I don't like what the storyline has been to get her to this moment. It's been very fast, very wicked moving. And like, I think at this moment you introduce Liv Morgan and maybe Nia Jax to complicate the match in some sort of way and get more of this foursome going on. But to me, there's no way that you can let Rhea Ripley lose this title right now. She is the face of this company on that women's side and almost the whole entire company. If you're really talking when people see she's the one, I don't think you could let her lose here.
Yeah, I find myself agreeing with Mike for maybe different reasons or whatever. I agree it's been too fast. I feel like it's a weird one. I personally love Becky as a person. She's always been fantastic to me. I love her as a performer, as just a fan. This just isn't. I feel if anything, this is going to be another bullet point for the back of the box of Rhea Ripley, right? Where it's like, beat Charlotte Flair last year for the title, beat Becky Lynch at this WrestleMania. I am beating the best of the best. Who can challenge me kind of thing, right? And whether that be Liv, whether that be Jade, whether it be whoever, right? Like you have those, you're basically racking up the accolades to build the fact that she's unstoppable. And where I really go in terms of, it's Greg Miller as the booker now, right? If we're all in on this is the end of Judgment Day or really shake up Judgment Day, she doesn't need the title for this, but there's some kind of miscommunication where Dom comes out during this match to help, but costs her the title. She gets into a bad predicament because of it, but he still gets away with the title. That part doesn't matter. But what I'm building to is SummerSlam, Rhea Ripley versus Dominik Mysterio.
And she beats his fucking
beats the shit,
ass.
Beats the wheels
Holy
off him.
shit.
You know what I mean?
Gosh, dude.
Like that's where this is inevitably going.
That's insane, and I love it.
And it's like so, you want to talk again about like, what does that actually mean? Like, what does that actually mean? And again, like, I don't want to diminish the women's title, but Rhea is such a special superstar and such a special talent. And again, you can build the package in your head that I think goes on leading into SummerSlam, right? Where it is hey man, this is shades of Eddie and China, right? And then you get her on the other side after beating Dominik easily, right? And then be like, cool. Now she's setting her sights on the Intercontinental Championship for Mania next year, Rumble that year, whatever. Maybe it is that she goes to the Rumble, wins the Rumble, and she wants the IC title. Some weird ass shit you could do with it, right? That's actually kind of lame. Don't do that. But you know what I mean? But it is that idea that like whoever after Gunther has the belt could have a really great run with her, right? And I don't think it would be anymore like it was with China, where it was, oh, this is cool. She's the ninth wonder of the world, and it's cool that she's doing this, but she could only ever get as high as the IC. And even then, is it earned? Is it not? Is it this? Do I believe she could beat Chris Jericho's ass? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Throw that. Like, Rhea, I believe, can get in there and hang with Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. You know what I mean? Like, these would be fucking fantastic matches. And again,
Fuck it.
Really turn.
Gunther.
really turned it on its head, right? Those chops, man.
Yeah, maybe not.
But I mean, really turned it on its head in terms of like what it means to be a female wrestler. What does that actually matter in me? Now, again, then that makes a lot of like, she could never go back because then if she did, then I'm fighting the men. Why are you fighting the men? Like, so it gets messy and it's probably a bridge too far. But I definitely think her versus Dom is where this is the next major stop on her journey, whether she has the title or not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Love
just wanted
that.
to see her to rip off the necklace that says Dirty Dom. I just wanted to rip it off, throw it in the ring, and just walk away.
Yeah, this one is another one I'm a little torn on just because I don't know the direction that they're trying to go. Like, Rhea is a superstar. She's so big. She doesn't need the belt. She could just be her own thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, her having the belt, I think, is one of the rare instances that it makes the programming better. Like, I feel like it makes it a much more, she can go on late night shows. She can, like, and her with that belt is, like, powerful. She's so good on the mic. She's so personable that I feel like she's kind of a walking billboard for WWE, and not being the champ, I feel like takes a little bit of that away.
Yeah.
I also really like that we're in an era that people can sit with the belt a little bit longer, because like I feel like in the women's revolution era of the 4 horsewomen all coming from NXT, the belt was trading every pay-per-view. And like we got up to like, I forget what the number is, but Charlotte Flair has won the championship like, what is it, like 17
16,
times or something,
yeah.
and I'm just like, that's ridiculous. Like that's not cool. That's like just utter nonsense.
But even that was like, I agree, but it also was a way just to kind of make her Ric Flair's daughter a bit more, right? Like I think that's why the narrative works so much.
That would totally work if every other one of the women didn't have 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
fair,
it's just
fair,
kind of
fair.
like there's just so much that I like her having it. It does feel like she's had it a long time, but it also doesn't feel like she's having any type of like lowering. Like has not peaked yet, but I do think she's gonna have to face a loss sometime in the next year. Like,
And I think
something has to
Jade
get
would be
in
a
her way.
great counter to that,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know what I mean? Of let's bring in someone who's established, or I'm sorry, who's an unknown quantity to establish and show how strong she is, and do something that like Nia Jax couldn't do, right? Where she is like this powerhouse, you know, Yokozuna type of unstoppable monster.
Yeah, I'm going Rhea on this one. It's funny because I'm leaning towards Becky at all. I would have said no, it's Rhea for sure, but
Yeah.
I am like questioning it based on our WrestleMania ranks where we watched the Bianca Becky match, and like the context of being able to look back and see what they did at Mania and then SummerSlam of like her just getting freaking like squashed, and then the story of them trying to have the redemption for it of Bianca coming back. I was like, I hated it at the time, but I ended up loving it, seeing where they all went with it. I can see them trying to do something here, kind of with that, but not because it's Becky again. It's Rhea. Rhea's winning this one. Let's go, Rhea, baby. And here we are. The end of night one. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus
boy.
Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. This is the one where anything can happen. Leave all, like, set your expectations. Fuck that shit. No, literally anything can happen here. What do you think happens, Raj?
Oh man, this is a weird one, right? Because I could see both scenarios, right? I see the scenario where this is just essentially what we saw last night, right? Where Rock and Roman just destroy Seth and Cody, and then we're just like, okay, cool. We get the close up on Mama Rhodes. She's crying. We give him oh my god, incredible stuff. Or I could see this as being the Avengers Endgame moment, right? Where we do it night one, we have Stone Cold, we have John Cena, we have whoever you want come out, and then for night 2, it's a fair fight. Oh shit, Roman's scared now. Wow, he's never had a fair fight with Cody. What does this look like? I see both equally. I am tending to lean towards my second option, where we start off with the Avengers Endgame moment, night 1, and then the second night is a more traditional match, and we see what that actually looks like and goes the distance. Just because we saw it already last night. I mean, that's my thinking. I know they like to triple down and do the previews and have the montage moments, but I would love to see us get out the Stone Cold glass break night 1. Okay, awesome. Now we're going into night 2.
That's crazy. I don't know where I feel on this. I do know that The Rock and Roman will win. It will be Bloodline rules night 2. But that's where I want my Avengers Endgame moment to happen, is out of nowhere, Seth comes in to help Cody get over. All of a sudden, we have Jey Uso show up. All of a sudden, maybe one more. But like, that's where I want my Endgame moment to be. But I feel like we could have that, right? What if Seth is in a bad position where he's going to possibly get hurt? Drew McIntyre has to come out and help them because he doesn't want Seth to get injured for the next night because he needs him to win this title. Like, that's where you build some of the more in the roster situations that happen. But in my mind, I want the end game to be the next night. I want this to feel like, oh my God, everybody and their mother is coming out of the woodwork to help Cody get over and finally defeat this monster. But that makes this night kind of boring if it's not like that, So I don't know where I fall, but I do know it will be Bloodline rules the next night for sure.
Yeah, there's no Avengers Endgame moment here. This is Rock and Roman win through their underhanded tactics and probably Solo doing something and Paul doing something or whatever. But they get the win here to make it Bloodline rules because I think that's where you need it tomorrow. But we'll talk about tomorrow in a second.
We will. I love your pitch, Raj. I think that it makes so much sense of having the Avengers moment, kind of like more of a surprise, night one. So you're setting up just the clean Cody. It's the beautiful finishing of the story. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It just can't. It just can't. Like that's this is a business, and also it's like they have a night two. They've already been building the story. I think that something has to happen night one though, like something beyond just what we saw last night. Like I feel like somebody needs to come out or whatever, but I also want to remind everybody, maybe that something is just watching The Rock wrestle because we haven't really seen that
even
yet.
the small amount we saw yesterday just warmed my heart.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So I don't, obviously he can't like go too hard because of where he's at in life, but can he?
We'll find out.
We'll find out,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like that is the thing I'm excited about. I think no matter what, it is going to be The Rock and Roman winning. It has to be Bloodline rules, all of that. I am so excited for this, though. I am not expecting this to just be like, that was a fine night one. I can't wait for night two. I'm hoping that it is leaving the theater of Infinity War. What the fuck are they gonna do for number two? And it's not gonna be that crazy because it's like we're already kind of setting up what's happening, but I thought I knew what was going to happen in Endgame, and I'll never forget my experience seeing it all actually go down.
Yeah.
So,
Will we see the close-up of Mama Rhodes crying?
oh yeah,
He's gonna be
Both nights.
both
I
nights
need it.
For
I
different
need it.
reasons.
different reasons, baby.
Rock will present the belt covered in blood, and then the next night Cody will present the belt
my
that Dustin
Lord.
never touched.
I love it.
It better be the best belt ever. This better be a cool belt. I didn't like this nightmare belt that he did. It was lame. It was lame.
Yeah. Now, sorry, we can't go on yet. We can't because we do need to talk about a different side of the theories to this. Well, I would say a pretty substantial theory that has been building with evidence. Does The Rock turn on Roman? Would it be this night? We've been seeing him throwing up the one wrong, putting up the L. We've seen him last night, like Roman holding up the belt, him holding up the American Dream belt. You know what I mean? They're doing a lot of that. I think that they're all for cent. I think that they're trying to get us thinking. I don't know exactly where it would fuck up. I don't think night one's the place you do it.
No.
But pretty damn cool, right?
I don't even think night two is really what you do. No. I mean, if you want, I have a whole bunch to say about night two's main event, so I'd rather save that for when we get there.
We can save it then. But we're going to talk about night two after a word from our sponsors.
Not Prime!
Kinda Funny turns 9 years old today. We could have made it 9 days without your support. That's why 2024 is all about doubling down on our shows and making it simpler than ever for you to get the most out of our content. Our revamped Kinda Funny membership is your one-stop shop for all our amazing content, which now includes on a weekly basis the Kinda Funny podcast, In Review, the Kinda Funny Games Cast, P.S. I Love You XOXO, the Kinda Funny X-Cast, the brand new series Kinda Funny Game Showdown. 5 episodes of Kinda Funny Games daily, and 5 exclusive Gregway vlogs.
And 5 days of streaming fun with me and the gang here in our newly revamped streaming space. It's going to be filled with a ton of laughter and a whole lot of shenanigans. We'll see you there.
That's more than 20 pieces of content a week from an 11-person independent team in San Francisco. That's a lot. And to get the most out of it, all we're asking for is $10. $10 gets you the Kinda Funny membership, and that entitles you to ad-free versions of the shows, the ability to watch the podcast live as we record them, and the exclusive access to my daily show, Gregway. You can get your Kinda Funny membership on patreon.com/kindafunny or youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Yes! We are expanding our Kinda Funny membership offering to YouTube so people can take full advantage of the platform they prefer. If you want to go above and beyond the Kinda Funny membership to support us, we will still have higher Patreon tiers, albeit with some changed up perks. We just wanted to make the message as clear as possible that the $10 Kinda Funny membership is for the masses to get all of the core content people love. Everything above that is very appreciated. The support means the world to us. You all are the best. But the $10 Kinda Funny membership available on both patreon.com/kindafunny and youtube.com/kindafunnygames is where we see the value of what we do. Kinda Funny is a dream come true, and we wouldn't have it without you. We hope if you've ever enjoyed the content, you can support us for at least a month as we prepare for our biggest year ever. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
Night 2. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament.
Huge.
This
This
is a
is
big
the
deal.
one I wrote.
I'm
Who
gonna
gives a
go
fuck?
bathroom real quick.
Like, I mean, I like all these guys. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
Bobby needs to beat these guys. Finally.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta get away from these guys. They're scaring me on the television. The screen's going black and white.
Oh,
I
it's these
hate-
guys.
I hate the Final Testament
I hate
with a
'em.
passion, and they've been causing
The worst.
Bobby and the boys a tough time lately.
They have
This
been,
has been the story back and forth between these two groups right now, and the Final Testament with Karrion Kross and the authors of Pain, the two big boys, like they've been causing some damage, and I need Bobby to finally shed them off, and I need them to destroy them, because what I'm looking for is the Street Profits. I want to see Montez Ford become something big. I need him to be propelled into the limelight, because this guy is so fun to watch. He is awesome in the ring, and so I need this storyline to end, and I need to end in a good way, because like I want to see some massive destruction out of these bodies, because these are big dudes battling in the ring, and they got scary managers. They got the one woman who clearly she's drinking blood like Angelina Jolie. She might be nuts, you know what I mean? It is so good. God, this is a good one.
I agree that all these people are incredibly talented and
Yeah.
that they need to do more with Montez Ford. Like, that's been well known for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, I think it's ridiculous that we're here and the Street Profits are still just like, all right. Like, they're a talented team. I can't believe that they haven't gone further, especially even with like Montez and Bianca having the show, right?
Yeah.
Where I thought, oh, when that pops off, spin him out into a single thing, let him go. And you just haven't seen that, which has been interesting, I feel.
Yeah, I just don't like the Final Testament. I agree. I agree with Mike. Every time when we first started watching SmackDown together, it'd be like, who are these idiots? It's just like, what is happening here? It's black and white. We got who's the bald manager? I don't know who this guy
Yeah,
is. He's
scary
scared.
bald manager
I don't
guy,
like
yeah.
him. He has the ring. I don't like it.
Karrion Kross has done very well to be like the perfect person to hate, and the whole group has been scary, and you're like, I need these guys absolutely destroyed. So hopefully Bobby and the team will finish this, and they will. This is the end of this story.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm with that too. I don't like Final Testament. And just Street Profits and Bobby are over. So let's just give them the win here. Next up, LA Knight versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Come on,
LA
man.
Knight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, come on. AJ Styles, I understand you're angry. You flew 30 hours to Australia just to fuck him over.
Hilarious.
Now it's time for LA to put a whooping on you as payback for that,
That's
right?
so fun. I do wish we had a little more of a better match for LA Knight. I'm not an AJ Styles guy. I don't understand his lineage, right? It just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I mean, it literally did at Elimination Chamber, kind of. But like, yeah, I'm a LA Knight guy. I just wanted something more. I wanted the Logan Paul match. I really did. But hey, that's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll get that one day.
It's a little weird that we're
Yeah.
not getting that, but I guess there's other reasons. But yeah, it's funny you saying you don't like AJ Styles. Like, that's like sacrilege. Are you kidding me?
I don't know
But
anything about this
When
guy.
I say that.
Yeah, I'm not.
He's been saying he's going to get a new theme, which I'm interested in.
Oh, I didn't know
He's been
that. I
teasing
missed
that,
that.
so I want to see what that's all about. But yeah, I'm going LA Knight on this one. I mean, like, give him the big win. Let's just keep him going.
The
It kinda-
big win.
I mean, give him a big WrestleMania win. I don't think he's ready for the big win.
I
You
know,
what I mean?
but I mean, I think that's interesting, right? That he had such this meteoric thing, and then it was like, all right, now we're taking you off left. You know what I mean? And so it's
Yeah.
like, I feel you get him back on the winning ways here, and then hopefully set him up to go after the U.S. Championship.
that's
right?
great.
Put him on line for that for SummerSlam leading in, because even the I guess 2 matches from now when we're talking about the next match. Sorry, I got distracted. The U.S. Championship here, triple threat, right? Like, I feel like Logan Paul's going to retain that, take it to SummerSlam in Cleveland, his hometown, right? And I feel like if you're going to do that, then why not have him be there against LA Knight?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
When we talk about stealing the show, I want to show up and steal the show. That's what I want these two to do right
Yeah.
here. I want them to steal this night and make a big name for this fight, right? Because LA Knight and AJ Styles, you talk about who AJ Styles is, the phenomenal one, and LA Knight, who's been so hot. This is a match where it's like, you two need to get in the ring and you need to put on a show. I need to remember when I walk out of here on Sunday night, go, man, that LA Knight match with AJ Styles, that was good. That was great. Like, that's what I want out of these two. And I think we all deserve that. I think they'll do that for sure. But there's so much going on in this that, like, there's big names, but there's people like LA Knight and AJ Styles where it's like, this should be a great match. And I'm hoping for it.
Yeah.
And I do believe they could do it. And I think, again, propel LA Knight into something, right? Whether that be chasing the IC belt, whether it's chasing the US belt.
I do think a big problem with the WrestleMania this stacked is the audience's endurance. And we've experienced it before. When there is just too much greatness, it kind of takes it out of you. And sometimes there's some matches that, like, by design are a little bit slower just to like let you reset to get excited again. And I'm pretty concerned about us keeping our energy up for all of this, because, like, everyone's gonna be fighting for the number one spot. And, like, I remember it was the Rumble we went to in Arizona, and it was AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, which is, like, on paper an internet wrestling nerd's wet dream. Like, that is just, like, such a match, and we were all just like, I am so not here for this. And I think it was just like how tired you get. So I'm hoping that that's not the spot here, because I want LA Knight
carrying chairs.
I bet. And it's funny you say that, Tim, because that is the honest to God truth, right? I think on the flip side, it's like, oh, this is 40. This is the moment. This is the biggest and the baddest. And when we break down just these matches so far, we are getting the biggest and the baddest, right? And so it is exciting of, like, this should be the ultimate, and it looks like it will be, but there's the truth of, we have to make sure that everybody can get through it. We have to make sure that the show just kind of flows, and it will be interesting of, like, what are those matches? And if it is one of these, it's like, oh, that's too bad, because those are two good superstars that you'd want more out of.
And even then, there's moments like we just talked about a couple weeks ago with Kofi Kingston beating Daniel Bryan in kind of the middle of the card, and then you have matches after that, and you're just going, and then it eventually gets to the main event, and it didn't feel that special, because, like, oh my God, our entire, like, being was in the middle match. But moving on to the next one, we got the United States Championship triple threat. Logan Paul, the champion, versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The Randy Orton, Kevin Owens of it all just kind of threw me off a little bit, right? Because it was always like, well, who is Logan Paul going to fight? And then it's like, okay, Randy Orton. Okay, but now Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are a tag team. Okay, now it's just a triple threat. I'm excited about just seeing Logan Paul fight. I'm just less excited about this match. I don't know. I'm starting WWE from January essentially, right? And, like, from what they've shown me, Kevin Owens, I'm like, I did not get the years of, growing with him and falling in love with him. And I know Randy Orton from just being Randy Orton, but I would say, as soon as Greg said the whole SummerSlam, that makes so much sense that Logan would retain. But now that I'm going down this path, I have to say Kevin Owens takes it, just because I'm saying
got it.
Everyone else gets it. But if I thought about that, I wouldn't have said my thing earlier.
Yeah, I feel like, again, I think Logan Paul is still such a huge win for WWE, right? Whether you love him or hate him, and you love hating him, right? It is the idea that, obviously, there's the Prime Energy drink money coming in, right? There's a promotion for his brand there. Then there's the promotion of him taking his belt onto the Impulsive podcast and talking about it there, being a champion there on social media, taking it with him to his brother's fight when he fights Mike Tyson or whatever, right? Like, there's so much. Logan's so great at being a heel and also promoting WWE when he goes out with that title and being a goofball like that. And I think, for me personally, and this might just be my own belief. It's spinning. I think the U.S. title's beneath Randy. Like, I just don't think that's. I don't think Randy needs a title to be interesting. We understand this is his, like, probably final run here, right? He's gonna hopefully not get injured and be here until he's ready to be done. And I think you could spin this out of him versus KO being a really interesting feud, where, again, Randy is the Viper, right? He's fantastic to watch, and Kevin Owens is awesome too. And, like, I think you really could have them put on some great matches to push you through your Raws and SmackDowns and stuff on your way to SummerSlam or whatever, Backlash, it doesn't matter, right? Something fun there for both of them to do while Logan sets his sight and does his few appearances on his way to go to SummerSlam to hopefully fight somebody like LA Knight.
Yeah. I think that Logan retains here. I totally agree with so much what you're saying here, Greg, of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, two very different types of superstars, but very important. Kevin Owens is the type of guy that, like, you put him in any match, it's going to be great. Yep. Like, he wrestles different than other people do. Like,
you should go back and watch his Stone Cold match from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
or
2 years ago?
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Incredible. Like, that is the type of thing of, like, give him a new up-and-comer, he's going to make him look like a star. Give him a legend like Stone Cold that might not still be able to go. He makes him go way longer and harder than you'd ever imagine he'd be able to.
Nice.
Just, anything in between is going to be fantastic. And he just, like, has this more of, like, it's very Kevin Coelho. It's very Kevin Coelho, his, like, energy and just, like, yeah, this is going to be different. Randy Orton, legitimately in the conversation for greatest of all time. And, like, he has it all. He has the crowd behind him. He has the music people want to sing. He has the pose. He has the RKO. So good. And he's just so good at working. We've seen him with tag teams time and time again. But the biggest thing about him is he's never left. Like, he might get injured, and then, like, he has been and whatever, then he comes back. But for 20-something years, he's just been the guy. He can win the championship at any point and it would make sense. It would never be like, why the fuck are you giving it to him type thing. So I agree with Greg. He's above the U.S. title, but I think that he's going to add to this match. And I think that this is really elevating Logan Paul. Yeah. I feel like this is letting the athleticism of Logan shine. And I think that some of the combo moves that the three of these guys are going to do to each other, I think that is why this is a triple threat match. Like, they're going to have so much fun with that where, again, they're trying to steal the show. I think these guys are going to try to steal the show.
Yeah, this match is going to be fun, is the word. It's going to be fun because we're going to get what we want. They're going to start this off, and the two of them are going to whoop Logan Paul's ass, and we're all going to cheer. We're going to be so happy. And then there's going to be a moment where these two have to start fighting each other because Logan Paul is going to roll out. And then we know what's going to happen. He's going to sneak the win. And it's just going to be perfect because we hate Logan Paul. We love to hate him. And it's fun. And like you said, Tim, like, these are two legends that are helping propel him to the next level. And we have continued to see this guy rise up to the occasion and absolutely deliver all the time. Like, every time we watch this guy, he's not missing. He's on the mic, he's delivering. He's in the ring, he's delivering, right? And he's working with the best in the biz. And if these guys believe in him and, like, that's what it's going to be really fun to watch. And yeah, you have to go to Cleveland. Right? There has to be more impulsive podcasts with the belt on the desk. There has to be more YouTube videos with him holding the belt, talking with different guests. I mean, he now has an avenue on that impulsive podcast where John Cena is on talking about his history of wrestling. He has Rhea Ripley on talking about wrestling. Like, this is the kind of mix, the melting pot that you want to bring in people like me or people that have never thought of wrestling to go, oh, okay, maybe I should watch that. Like, he's got these cool people that I'm now listening to. Like, there's a mix here that when we go down this roster, nobody else has, like Logan Paul. You got to use that while you got it.
Next up, 3 to go here. The Women's Championship, WWE Women's Championship. Iyo Sky, the champion, versus Bayley. It's her time. It's going to be so good. But the question is, Greg, does she come out with the inflatable tube, man? She has to. I don't think she's going to. Just because she's turning face, right? It's already kind of happening.
Yeah.
She's going to have a new song, like I think, or an old song, whatever.
She hit up Paramore, and she was like, I want a specific song.
I mean, yeah.
And she was, and then they were like, yeah, let's make it happen.
Say, yeah?
Yeah. It was live on, like, Instagram Live, and they were like,
God, I missed that.
Absolutely, yeah.
See, that's incredible.
So, I mean, Paramore
that's
might be there.
Freaking incredible. I just feel like the hugger stuff, I just don't see that working anymore, but just still throw up the tubes.
Throw up 2 tube men, right, with, like, more whatever color she's wearing rather than the rainbow stuff. Yeah, you could get away with it, so.
I want it. I want that so bad.
Yeah.
Paramore, come on, that's fucking awesome.
Cool. It's dope.
No chance Bayley doesn't win.
No.
No chance.
My main concern, though, will people care? We care. We're excited. Hardcore people, following it, know the journey and yada, 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 and her whole thing. But it's like, I really feel like it hasn't been that big of a deal that she won the Rumble and then chose this and went through. Like, she's not being promoted, and I don't even the same way as, like, Cody. I mean, like if you were going to ask somebody, I think a more Rhea is fighting for the women's title, right, against Becky, right? Like, it's like, I just don't feel the excitement outside of you and me being like, Bayley's time's here.
I think that's okay, though. And, like, look, I feel like I agree they have done not a great job with, like, promoting her as the Rumble winner, but I just think we're just overstacked right now. The Rock is back on TV. Like, I understand that there's probably a ton of people at WWE that hate that. They're just like, fuck, there goes my time. But then there's a lot of other people being like, well, more people are going to watch us than ever because of this. I think that Bayley's storyline, while could have been better utilized in terms of like her versus the champion, Iyo Sky's reign has been so whatever.
Yeah.
But it's important that she had it because of Damage Control. I feel like the story, her WrestleMania moment is the story, not so much her winning the championship. She's done it before, you know? And I feel like the Damage Control side of it, of her overcoming and all of that, to me, I think is going to speak loudly to the people it needs to. Its placement on the card, a little worried about people's excitement for everything. But yeah, I think Bayley winning, especially coming out with a hype entrance and like with all that behind her, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, 100% Bayley. This is more my eyes go to Damage Control and the fall of Damage Control, or can they somehow stick together, right? You talk about the Kabuki Warriors. Well, they're set. They're locked in, right? Dakota Kai, is she hanging around with Iyo Sky, or are they separating? And where do these two girls go in the mix that is so many superstars and so little time? I'm going to keep an eye on this champion and see where she goes afterwards. That's what I'm most interested in. Is like, if Greg loses the belt, and like you said, Tim, it's like, well, Greg was just kind of like in the middle, right? He wasn't that great, but like, what happens to her storyline? Where does she go 6 months from now? I think that as a new wrestling fan, that's what I'm always most interested in, of like, where do they go? When will they get their time again? Does this girl just all of a sudden disappear out of my life? I want to know.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me. I never want to wish that on anyone, but like, yeah, look at that list. It's like, okay, well, you're 15th. You're now 20th on the list. Like, what does that look like for screen time and anything? Will we see her in NXT maybe? And like, they figure something out with her there. I'm very interested in stars like this.
The World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre with CM Punk on commentary.
Such a fun little match.
We're cooking, baby. Greg, what do you think?
Drew wins.
Yeah.
Where I get lost is what I want to do with Punk in the whole mix. I think Drew wins. I think Seth graduates from this to go against Cody again. I think we get him involved in the thing there. And I don't think it needs to be I'm a heel and I try to cost you the match as much as you cost me my opportunity. I'm mad at you about that. And we can feud on that in a lead to SummerSlam and a run to that. I think it's worth pointing out because it's just I don't want to bury it because I think you could easily have... I mean, like, Seth needs to fight Punk as well. That needs to happen, right? But I think you can go Drew first with Punk since he's the man who injured him and has been leaning on him and needling him and wearing the shirts and doing the thing. And so I get caught up in, I don't want Punk to have to distract Rollins, you know what I mean, for this to happen. So I think Drew just wins clean, just beats Rollins, right? And he's had a hell of a run here trying to establish this champion, being a workhorse champion, yada, yada, yada. And then from there, I think it's that Drew flips, calls out Punk. And I don't know if Punk comes into the ring to stare him down or what and gets one shot in or whatever. But I think there's something, maybe it's just yelling at him over the ropes, security separates them, I don't know. But I think you do something that way since you have Punk out there and you have that. It's also a question of how far along is Punk right now in rehab, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to him on MMA Hour today, right? Yesterday's podcast where he's talking about like, you know, he's very publicly is like, this time around, the doctors are holding me back, which I appreciate and like, but he's like, I'm sitting here going, I could have been ready for Mania. Could I have been ready for me? You know what I mean? So if he feels that close, how close are we to him being able to throw a punch, do something, and do some light comment, like light mic work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bet he doesn't wrestle till SummerSlam at the earliest, right? Or maybe some other, when's Clash at the Castle? Is that before
June.
SummerSlam, right? So before SummerSlam, right? Like, I don't know, but I think there's something you could do there. I imagine if I'm a betting man, though, you set it up that Drew goes there with the championship, fights whoever he's fighting. Punk tries to screw him over there or whatever. It gets involved in that match. I doubt Drew drops the title there, but it's able to set up then the continuing hatred between these two men. His return match is Punk for him versus for the title. But in this one, I think Rollins' title ends here so that he can still... teasing it, I think the end game moment is this one, and I think Rollins has to be involved in that to then, I think, then get to Cody's celebration on Monday Night Raw being interrupted by Rollins. Congratulations, you did it, but I always hated you, and I always knew you were a snake, and you proved it. I got involved in your shit. I got beat down in the tag match. I got beat down on Raw the Monday before.
Yeah.
I wasn't 100%. I lost the title to Drew. I'm not going after that title, though. I'm coming after yours now.
It's that simple.
Question about this. Do we think bloodline interference has to be some
In the world, in this one?
Yeah.
I don't.
Really?
I think that, like, I think it doesn't, this storyline doesn't need it. I think we have enough players here. I think Seth dropping the title because again, you already have it.
Yeah.
Seth is worn out from the beatdown on Monday, and he's worn out from the tag match the night before. Whatever you figure, whatever is going to happen in the tag match the night before, is he going to have the butterfly bandages on his head? Is he going to have an arm wrapped up or something? He will have some kind of visual cue of he's not 100% here, Corey. Something's been going on. Blah 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 blah. I think they lean into that to establish the fact that you got me on this one, Drew. I wasn't 100%. I could have owned your ass, but I'm going to take it now to Cody.
How, just an observation question. How real do we do with the injury reporting? Right? Like, I think of sports more of like, we're pretty real on that one. But like, for something like this, could this be a storyline of like, oh, I'm injured, but like, could he show up and all of a sudden be like, psych, I'm not injured.
Yep.
I'm interfering with the match. And now we got a 3-way triple threat later on. Like, is this somewhere we really, truly report the injury? Or is it like, hey, this could be storyline and it could be something different?
It could always be anything.
The lines are so blurred in this to me. It's so interesting.
Don't get work to do,
know?
brother.
Yeah. You add social media to it, it's like, oh, it's game over. Like, there's nothing is real, but also real things are happening. So it's like, you're looking at it, and like, when there's real injuries, it's like, well, you got to deal with that. It's like they can't magically make the injury fake just out of flipping a switch. You know what I mean? So
the MMA podcast, MMA Hour he was on was a shoot enough interview, as he talked about AEW. He was guarded about some things, kept some stuff out there that I buy the how
I'm
far along
actually
are you?
injured
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not ready
And I
yet.
definitely he's actually injured. There's no way this has been a fake since fucking Rumble.
he would be
because-
at Mania.
Yeah, they would have totally pulled that by now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is Drew. Seth, to me, is just so over. He doesn't ever need a belt. Like, it is like this guy walks in the room and it is Seth freaking Rollins, no matter what. No belt needed. But I agree with Greg. It's like, yeah, you lose this because you're going after something bigger, and that is the next storyline for Cody Rhodes is
And this
Seth Rollins.
Also solves the problem in a lot of different ways, right? All due respect to Roman, right? It's the idea that, like, once Cody gets the title, Cody's not going to stop doing the house shows and going. He's going to still be out there, right? Once Drew wins the title, he's not going to stop doing the stuff. He's going to still be out there. The belt will still be on TV and defended on TV. It won't, and I don't know if it'll change hands on TV, but it'll be defended to be part of programming in a way it hasn't been with Roman Reigns as champion and Brock Lesnar before him.
Totally. God, forever. Yeah, I definitely think it's true on this one because the heavyweight championship that they made here was to have a working champion, to be able
Something
to
to put on TV.
have a belt because Roman had both of them for so long and whatever. And Seth really had to make that belt matter. And I think that they've done a great job so far of having the tournament to decide who inaugurally gets it, but then to keep it all up. I don't know how perfect the entire run's been of every competition they've had for it, but overall, I think Seth has done his time. He put in the work. This belt is now established. Him losing it does not lessen him or lessen the belt, which I think is the more important part of this at this point. And
not to mention losing it this way on night 2 after fighting The Rock and Roman Reigns, right? Like you don't
Big
look
asterisk.
weak. You're like, oh man, those are Herculean feet. You good job.
totally. And I think that this is probably one of the cleanest matches of the night.
Oh.
Okay,
I was going to bring in Toby Blue on the chat. We haven't talked about Senior Money in the Bank. And like, if
Fuck, you're
this
right.
is the belt, if there's any belt in the men's division, this is probably the one where Senior Money in the Bank would get involved. And I mean, when is Money in the Bank? Is it truly May? When is Money in the Bank usually? Because like, I feel like we're nearing his time, and this is the biggest stage.
And he
It
keeps on
feels
saying
like
he's
it's
gonna-
time.
July 6th.
Okay, so
shit.
your
He keeps on
window
teasing
is
something.
tightening by
here's
a lot.
the thing. Like, first off, let me just close this out. I don't think there's going to be interference from CM Punk. Like, I think that is like he's not going to touch these men during the match.
I agree.
Period.
Yeah, agree.
He will talk shit, whatever. But like, yeah, maybe after something happens, but like, he's not going to get his hands involved. The Money in the Bank thing is interesting
It's time.
because I mean, it's time for what though, Mike?
It's
To
time
just
for
get
him
it
to-
used and just fucking move on.
Yeah,
You know what
I mean, it's time to get it used. I do agree. Like, if he walks out champion, that doesn't set up CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in any good way. That's like, oh, this belt's on the line. So he probably has to lose it, but this guy's got to use this. If it's the fall of the Judgment Day and all that. Like, you can't keep walking around with this purple case and make me care at all. Like, it's time, dude.
I totally agree. I don't know that it's time at Mania. I just feel like it might be just too much shit, especially it's probably going to be the second to last match, which means like we're already about to have a million different people interrupting. Like, at what point is it too much? Having said that, Seth Rollins did cash in his money in the bank after a heavyweight championship with Roman to get it back at 32 or whatever it was. And it'd be pretty cool to have Rollins
And is it just
there's too much going on? There's too much going on.
I see if they were to do it, it would be a clown out situation, right? It would be like he comes through and he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to recreate the thing that happened," and it just gets fucking destroyed. Just gets
Claymore
kicked
kick
out.
right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so that's my thing is like flipping the Seth Rollins thing. But yeah, if it was
There's
Drew
something
doing
there.
it, there is something.
And he has been teasing things throughout Raw and SmackDowns and stuff, and be like, "I'm doing something. I'm working behind the scenes," and like,
yeah.
And I could totally see him coming out and getting clowned out, and that also is the fall of Judgment Day. Right?
Yeah.
Is that mommy gets all mad
dude.
about it.
Yeah,
It's
but
like you see it.
If he gets Claymore kicked, like Drew wins and this guy cashes in, like all of a sudden Drew just Claymore kicks him out of the way. It's like, oh man, Send Your Money in the Bank was a nobody this whole time. Like, that sucks. Because like Damian Priest has been very imposing, a lot of fun to watch. And like, if he just falls to being another victim of like, I cashed in and I automatically lost, it's going to be like, that sucks.
See, I'm
That
being a Hayden
sucks
Ass
too.
hater. I don't find Damian Priest fun to watch.
Interesting.
And I feel like I find him fun to watch as a character that I don't like. So seeing him get clowned out, I would love that. I just think it might be too many elements for this Mania.
Sure.
Having said that, there is the Raw after Mania, which always has big moments, and like him cashing in there could happen. I also don't see him winning it.
Yeah, no.
So
That's the biggest thing about it, where I'm with you, Tim, that I like Damian Priest fine on the mic, and that's part of Judgment Day, but I've just never been like, I'm excited about this Damian Priest match. I think that if he was going to cash it in, he would lose. It doesn't need to be a squash right away, even though I think that'd be great if it was just and he's just down, you know what I mean? But I do think that it falls back into all the infighting of Judgment Day and nobody's helping each other out, no communication. If you did it on Raw, it would make sense because you have a fighting champion in Drew. But yeah, I don't think he'd walk away with it there either.
yeah.
It'd be perfect if he does cash in and fail. And this is like the official end of Judgment Day, because then all of the pieces would fall. Rhea's still champion. She says, I never needed y'all. See you later. Goodbye. And she just walks away. You know, like that.
Wrestling's fucking awesome, you
That's
guys.
how
This
it's
is
gotta
awesome.
go. Here.
That's a good moment.
And now here we are. It's the Portals moment, everybody. The undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes.
Bloodline rules potentially.
Bloodline rules guaranteed. What happens?
What does Bloodline rules look like? Are we gonna have Solo singing the national anthem? Because he teased it, and everyone laughed, and I'm like, what if? You know what I mean? Like, what if? I don't know. What is Bloodline rule? Because they sort of we haven't had an actual Bloodline rules match until last night,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like a no holds barred
Just
match.
anything
Like,
goes.
okay,
Anything goes. No
okay,
rules.
cool. I thought there's gonna be a little bit more to it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think what it does is gives you this climactic battle between these two titans that can get outside. It can get rough. It can be the chair. It can be the table. It can be choking each other with this, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, it means the bloodline can get involved. I think for me personally, and hopefully this should benefit me in the end, my Avengers Endgame is so toned down from what everybody else is saying. I really do think it is. Solo hops the barricade and bam, Seth is on him. You know what I mean? Rock tries to do something and boom, it's just like they're putting out the fires one by one, but they're never getting involved in terms of Solo getting his hands on Cody, Drew for some reason getting who I don't think will actually be involved, but like him getting his hands on Roman. I think they let Roman they face it up so that Roman and Cody are able to just be one-on-one in there. They can brawl and they can brawl through the crowd and smash each other with shit, but there's no somebody's doing this, somebody doing that. It is, when he goes to hit him with Crossroads, that's when somebody tries to interfere and gets stopped. And when, this tries to happen, they stop, so that it can be a clean, dirty victory. I do think, for me, the question mark is Rock Roman, because that's where we go from here, right? Roman's biography on A&E the other day, right? 2 hours, and him saying, once I lose this thing, I'm retiring, right? Like, I feel like I don't need and don't want really Rock helping Cody, like going face. Like, I think this is the whole point of what they've built, right? Is that Cody needs to do this, and he needs to do it on his own. And I know he's doing it on his own with help, but not direct help. Not somebody rock bottoming Roman Reigns for him to come in there and get a Cody cutter or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's all got to happen on its own. And so I think even then when you paint the picture of it finally happens, Cody wins the title, the American Nightmare themed paper is floating down through the air. Maybe, you know, Seth has him up on his shoulders. You have the locker room of the good guys pour out and celebrate with him. Him get off the shoulders, go through the ropes, give his mom the title. We get her crying. We get him crying. They all hold each other, right? Back to Tim's, there's so much happening that you can't also have The Rock spit on Roman Reigns and rock bottom and right? Like, The Rock leaves disgusted in his cousin or looking disgusted. And then we get that follow-up on Raw. We don't get that follow-up for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you build to eventually get the one more match from Roman that is Rock versus Roman. That's where I think this has to go in the long term. Short term, though, I think Cody wins, quote unquote, clean, but it's just because all the actions kept to the outside. I don't think Stone Cold's involved. I don't think Cena's involved. Again, that's just too much stuff. It's great stuff, but again, I don't know if it needs to be this happening and then the thumbs up. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's like, for this to be Cody's night, excuse me, and Cody's thing, I just think the glass breaking and Stone Cold running down and Rock being fucking floored and getting stunned, like, it's just seems like cool. Now we've usurped the headline of Cody finally finishing the story, right? If anything, maybe, like, you know, you start counting off who's doing what, right? Of like, what if you really want to get into it, what I think, rather than go into the Hall of Fame superstars, it's Cena, it's Stone Cold, you need to go the other way and have Gold Dust, have Dustin run in there, right, and like get him, right, and have it really be a Dusty Rhodes, Cody Rhodes family thing, right? Here we have, you know, Dustin Reynolds, Gold Dust out there helping his brother, right, like doing the thing, and he's like, and that also doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's like, I'd rather it be a smaller thing of an actual reason why this is happening for interference than it be Stone Cold, who hasn't been like Cody Rhodes' mentor or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you, Greg, unless they didn't already do this, like for 3 Raws, essentially, of like, things are happening. Oh, now we're hunting the bloodline. I also think when we talk about the Seth and we talk about the Drew match, I don't think Seth's going to be happy after that match, right? Like, I don't think he's going to be happy to help Cody.
And that's why I get into this weird one, right? Where I do feel like it's such a weird turn for me. I want to get to that thing of like, you screwed me over on this, but it's hard to say you screwed me over and I still helped you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you that there's.
I just see the moment of like them like, oh my God, The Rock's coming out. Where's Seth? Seth's watching in the crowd. He's just shaking his head. He's ready for him. And then glass or something happens, right? Like, that's the only missing part. I would be with you if Seth didn't have this match where he's inevitably not going to be happy when he loses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to go down like if we're talking Avengers portal moment of like, who's and who's, right? Because like we're missing one, I feel like, right? You have Seth and The Rock, you got Jimmy and Jay, Solo, and who, right? Like if we're lining them up, who does he have to call
the opposite,
on,
right? Where I mean, Seth would take. That's why this is why you get to it needs to be a Hall of Famer. I don't want Gold Dust running out and hitting The Rock.
Well, what if he just hit Solo or Jimmy? Oh, no, Jimmy and Jay got to. So yeah, what if he fights Solo? You know what I mean, for a brief moment. But I do agree with Greg. I would prefer. It's like them saving him away from interfering with the fight. I want to see these two brawl it out and leave it all on the mat while we have the Avengers Endgame moment all around them is for sure what I want. But yeah, I go down the list. Who's the name?
Kuma says, you know, what are the chances of Rock turning on Roman? It's just like, again, I feel like that to me feels so anticlimactic for Cody's story. Yeah, I finally finished my story because The Rock bottomed him, and then when he got up groggily, I hit the fucking crossroads. Like,
yeah, that would suck. If you were Cody, that would suck. And I like looking forward, like Rock versus Roman, that's cool and all, but like I don't care about that right now.
Now,
like, I don't need this to happen.
What could be fun, and it might be an easy way to switch all this right, is what we're talking about. There's a mismatch on numbers, right? So it is Seth comes out to help, Jay comes out to help. They get leveled or whatever. It does appear to they all get in the ring, the bloodline, right? So it is Jimmy, Rock, and Solo, and they're doing the thing. Roman's knocked out or whatever, blah, blah. And then Rock turns, Rock bottoms him, people's elbows, Solo, whatever, takes them out. Cody's completely, he turns, takes off the glasses. I don't know. He smells what The Rock's cooking kind of shit. Doesn't touch Roman, like shakes Cody's hand, maybe gets out and then lets the match continue. There's something there that would work and be cool.
Yeah, it's so interesting where this reminds me a lot of theorizing going into Endgame of like, there's so many possibilities. We know the Avengers are going to win, but who's going to die? Who's actually going to do the things? What team ups are we going to see? How are they going to come back? Like, we had ideas, but we didn't have the actual vision. And I don't think any of us could have predicted exactly what went down. So I'm in that place where I'm like, I feel like so many of these outcomes I'm here for. Like, I feel like there's so few of these that I'm going to be like, man, that was really a letdown for me. Like, even to the point of if Roman Reigns wins, like, do you guys think that there is a above 10% chance that that's possible?
Oh, if we're talking like percentages, yeah, there's a little bit of a percent for sure. But like, I would just be hard pressed for us to come back year number 2 and watch this guy not finish the story.
And it just
like me as a
undercuts
casual fan would be like,
done.
yo, this guy, I'm never cheering for this guy again. I don't care.
There's only so much delayed gratification you can give somebody. And right now to have Cody fans eating shit as he's beaten to death everything, right? Like, you need to end it and put him over and show the good guy can win in WrestleMania 40 and da. But like, if it is him fucking in the ring stunned again to lose, fucking no.
Yeah, we talk about a business decision. Like, Cody's just such a good face of WWE. Like, I if we undercut this whole thing, it's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be worth it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I want Cody to win for sure. I think it's going to happen.
It's good to think about the other option, though.
Yeah,
we got to think
just
about
throwing
it.
that out there. But in terms of the like my predictions or what's going to happen, it's complicated because I do feel like what I want is this to be all out. Holy shit, we're pulling anything we can. Like, they're all coming back, and it is crazy how many people are involved in this. I unfortunately don't feel like they've built to that properly. Like, I feel like there was a moment like maybe a month and a half ago where Sami Zayn was involved and whatever, and I was like, oh my god, they're really going to bring back every single person that Roman Reigns has wronged. They just haven't quite told that story, and I think it's because they've been so focused on like reversing what The Rock's doing and going down that path. But what's interesting there is I just feel like how brutal The Rock has been to Cody is impossible with good storytelling to have him help Cody win now. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's like, they might do it, but I feel like that might let me down. I think that a couple weeks ago I felt differently, but with how brutal it's been, The Rock's character here, it's like, I feel like we need to end Mania with Cody winning and The Rock not turning on Roman yet here. But with that, it's like, I wish that they had done a little bit better of a job via commentary, just via vignettes or whatever, of setting up the fact that like Solo last beat John Cena.
Yeah.
So like having him come back could make sense there. But then who can handle The Rock? Stone Cold. It's like, there's things that do make sense when you start talking about this, not just as Bloodline, but as the final boss, which they've been building to expertly, and who could take down the final boss, who could even intimidate him, who could even make him like give a crap, and instead of like, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of the ref, throw Cody Rhodes against this truck, like all that stuff. And that shot of Cena and Stone Cold was not an accident. No. You know what I mean? Like, do I think it's a guarantee they're gonna show up? No. Do I think they've done the best job of getting them to show up? No. Am I going to pop the fuck off when they show up? Yes. And I think that it's not going to take away from Cody's story. Like, I do think that if anything, it enhances Cody's story. I think that at the bare minimum, that shot we had of Cody getting his fucking ass beat by The Rock.
Which time?
In 2024 with Stone Cold and John Cena in the back on that the big ass billboard, right? At the very least, this is cementing Cody Rhodes is with these people. The men in this shot right now, they're on the same tier. You're supposed to care about them this way. I feel like that alone, the more people you could have backing Cody, the more legends you have backing Cody, the bigger a WrestleMania moment it's going to be at the end when he wins and everything's falling and his mom's there and they're all raising him up. I hope everyone is raising him up. I want it to be the most insane shot we have ever seen at a WrestleMania. I want
all of the superstars to come out. Like, we have defeated the big bad.
Did it,
we
dude.
got it. He's out and everyone's here cheering him on. Similar to like what we saw with Kofi, where everyone was backstage and cheering him. I want those moments for sure.
And so my one thing is what Greg's talking about of the in-ring fight between Cody and Roman, letting it be as clean of a win as possible. I'm with that. Like, I do feel like letting Cody just actually beat Roman is very, very important. But I also struggle to imagine The Rock and Cody not having a moment here. They will have had a bunch the night prior, but like, I still feel like there's going to be more interactions between the different people than I think.
Yeah, he's got to get through the final boss. He's got to get through the final boss to win.
Question
Yeah.
about not WrestleMania, but the days after WrestleMania. How long is The Rock sticking around in main storytelling? Is he just piecing out in the next month? Or are we going to see, I mean, we just coming back for next WrestleMania? What are we thinking here?
It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just turn it off. Like it's not like WrestleMania will be a clear, decisive end of the bloodline, right? You need the next shows to be dealing with that as well. Of even if it is Roman's gone away, he's gone into seclusion, right? Rock's like, fuck this. It's it is Paul Heyman and Solo and Jimmy trying to figure it out or whatever, and then they're fighting with Jay, and Jay gets Sami Zayn back, and they're tagging. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I think Roman goes into hiding, or because I just don't think. I guess you could build the SummerSlam Rock Roman, but I think you'd want that for Mania next year, and again, make it an event, make it an attraction. So I think Rock really would. Maybe it's Raw after Mania where he comes out and that's where he shakes Cody's hand. You know what I mean? And be like, I'm leaving, not so many words, but I'm leaving the keys to the kingdom with you, and I'm going back to run it from a top level and drink my Terramana. I'll see you later. And then eventually when Roman resurfaces or there's a hint of it or whatever, I don't know. I don't think Rock's on as nearly as much as he's been. No, he's been here to promote WrestleMania. Once that's done, now we wind him down into some capacity.
I think that is very likely. I do think another option is, I love the idea of Roman just going into hiding, but I can also see him coming out, him and The Rock having that moment on the Raw after Mania and calling the shot, like just right then and there.
See,
hey, all this happened. Main event next year. It's me and you, bro.
You want to know really what I think will happen on that front? Then I don't think that's what you'll see. I think if I'm booking and I'm doing it all right now, right? Roman just goes into hiding. He's seclusion. He's retired. Yada, yada, yada. Bloodline falls apart, does his thing, blah, 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 blah. I think it's probably the last Raw in December or whatever it is, where Paul Heyman will get a call from Roman Reigns and be like, you're returning to TV next week. And that first Raw on Netflix is Roman Reigns' return.
Oh, my God.
And that's when The Rock's music hits in the middle of it of like, you're saying, what now, jabroni? No. I'll see you in 3 months in Mania.
You're nailing it. I mean, because think about it. When they came to
SmackDown,
Fox, when SmackDown came to Fox, they literally did it all.
Yeah.
They did it all for that. So, that makes sense. They made some really bad decisions, too, but they did it all.
So we think Roman Reigns just disappearing after this?
I think that's the best case scenario. I think that's the coolest storyline. And also, I mean, it's going to be that different anyways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just want to see more of him. I mean, as someone who does not see much of him, right? He is just the guy in the castle that has the thing. I want him to get down with everybody else and have to grind up a little bit.
I don't think we'll ever
I
see
know
that.
we won't, but if I were to play action figures, that's what I would want. And I would want The Rock to be the head of the bloodline. You know what I mean? I want that. That'd be great.
The head of the table.
Exciting times, everybody.
It's going to be a great time.
I'm excited for commentary, too. McAfee on the tables.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be bringing the energy.
He's been
man.
so great as being a really
great.
fun heel announcer. Where he's just selling
Oh,
Michael Cole up
Candace
the river.
LeRae, the worst human being on planet Earth.
So great. So great. Let us know in the comments below what you're excited for, what your predictions are. Are we completely off? Or are we freaking
Get it off the screen.
How excited are you? Until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.
Watch This Is Awesome.